Welcome back. I'm Michael Bull, and this is the Commercial Real Estate Show. If you'd like to know the absolute latest on any commercial real estate related topics, check out our on-demand show podcasts. For example, in separate shows, we recently covered the industrial market, the multifamily sector, retail, and the office market. There are lots of interesting shows to choose from. Just grab your phone, tablet, computer, visit iTunes or the show website, commercialrealestateshow.com. Today we're talking about architecture, design, and construction. Please welcome Donald Banger, Principal, Urban Design Group. UDG thrives on multiple uses, budgets, and environmental challenges, utilizing pragmatic creativity to produce beautiful and appropriate solutions. Donald, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
I like that byline there, you know, it's exciting, isn't it? Also, please welcome Bruce McAvoy with Perkins & Will. Established in 1935, Perkins & Will has 24 locations in the U.S. and all over the world. Bruce, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Mike. It's great to be here. Well,
guys, we appreciate you joining us here in Studio One. And, you know, the architecture industry can be a sign for future construction and jobs and a lot of other positive business activity. What does the volume of business in the industry today compare to, say, pre-recession or the last few years? Are you seeing a big uptick in business?
Well, Michael, I think we're seeing across the board an increase. You know, in the recession, we saw our business sort of move around globally. We saw an uptick in China. We were working in the Middle East. We kind of had markets all over the world with a very diverse group of market sectors and disciplines, which kind of flattened out some of the stronger points of our economy. But now it feels like you know, there's less sort of fishing and simulation in the market. More projects are going all the way through to full conversion. We're seeing cranes go up, as you mentioned earlier. I think it's a really optimistic time. I think we're right on the cusp also in our industry of seeing sort of the uptick in hiring and sort of people staffing up again. I think we're right at the edge of that right now.
In Perkins & Will's favor, they're a bigger firm. On the medium to the boutique size, it's still a time at which we're looking for the pipeline to start filling up. What we were fortunate to do is during the recession is to find a client that was keeping us very, very busy and very, very focused, and we are finishing a couple of major projects, and yet there's not the backfill that we're seeing. So it's not uniformly as positive yet.
And are you guys seeing more of uptick in the U.S.? I mean, I know you guys are working all over the world.
I feel like in our regional market, we've seen more activity than we've seen over the last 3 or 4 years, and again, it's definitely you know, not simulation, but conversion to real work that you know, we're breaking ground on now. So that's great, and we're seeing that in all of the big markets in the U.S., which has been kind of the struggle of how we're going to keep up with sort of this global practice and some of the markets that have remained hot, and then we're layering on sort of this uptick in our local markets, whether that's the Northeast, Southeast, or West Coast in Canada. So.
Let's talk about that a minute, Donald. You know, how is the industry different today than it was in past years?
One of the things I like about what has happened in the recession is that there was a discipline. Sometimes discipline comes from fear, and fear is a good thing because it moderates your behavior in the future. But not that fear should be overpowering. What is happening is partnering, and the client is seeing that they're bringing all of the players at the table early on in order to advance a common goal. That is exciting, and that is really one of the ways in which success can be much more guaranteed. So we go forward in a partnered kind of a way more now than we ever did before.
Okay. And Bruce, if I'm looking to hire an architect for a project, what are some important things I should consider when I'm picking the right firm?
Well, I think you know, everybody has sort of the right fit for their expectations for the project, and I think the biggest thing is to not underestimate the value of that endeavor. You know, your space speaks a wealth about you and who you are. We're seeing more and more clients having very high expectations too. They kind of want it all. They want it for less, and they want it quicker.
Of course.
So exactly, right?
Want
so,
it now.
That's why
and they want it now. So you know, you really need to think about two sort of multidisciplinary design firms, I think. The idea of sort of a very traditional delivery or segmented piece that has to be coupled together with several different efforts. We're going to see an evolution within the design industry to kind of, I think, streamline that and make that a more holistic answer to questions of design, of space, and what company needs are.
I concur. There is some report
Concur.
there was one of those. 90% of what we do as architects, I think, is not the design that people see on the exterior of a building. And it's in selecting it, you have to pick an architect who knows how to balance in their design delivery, discipline, and leadership, and listening acuity. And that is really what's necessary in the beginning, is that listening acuity. So we bring more of what you as the owner needs rather than what we as an architect may desire. So that is what I'm seeing that clients are listening for.
Yeah, that's a good point, and I think that's really important. You know, in our brokerage business, we have to listen to our clients, and you know, on all the service providers, you know, we need to figure out what's important to the client and listen and try to help them get that done. So let's talk about some mistakes to avoid when you're dealing with a project and you're in the planning process, design process. What are some mistakes to avoid?
I think personally, in my experience, it's been people underestimating, again, sort of going into this endeavor. Whether that be access to sort of the ideals of the company, who the decision makers are going to be, and how strong that client group is. Some of the most successful projects I've had include the C-suite, and in fact, usually the CEO of the company. They know where they're going, they know what they're doing, and they have a vision. And they understand that their space is completely coupled to that vision. You know, it used to be, you know, let's do a build out, we need some space. It was kind of a thing of we just need something that looks good. I think more and more savvy clients now are understanding that your space is integrally linked to how your business performs, how well you do, and it's actually a business tool now.
Bringing everybody to the table is the first thing and foremost thing, so I agree with that.
Setting common goals.
Yeah. And are people making any mistakes with trying to cut costs too much, or to put too many people in too small a space, or any other things that you would caution clients out there about in their design?
That's done in the process anyway. That's part of the discussion. Everybody has a different idea of how to answer the problem being solved, and everybody brings different tools, and that's why bringing the team together, that having that open-minded discussion is so important.
And I'd just like to make a point too, that good design doesn't necessarily have to take longer or cost more.
No, it doesn't.
You can be clever, sophisticated, and come up with something. You can do a lot with less. I think a lot of times clients have an expectation going into things based on what they did last time or a space they've been in, and you know, we don't always need to go down that road. Understanding everyone's expectations at the table, the resources at the table, and what we can do, that's where I think the power of good design lies, balancing all that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, we're going to take a quick break here. When we get back, we're going to talk about some of the tools that are being used in the architectural world today, some more about design. We're also going to look at some of the various sectors in commercial real estate and look at some points about architecture, design, and construction related to each sector. So stay with us. I'm Michael Bull. This is the Commercial Real Estate Show. We'll be right back. The Commercial Real Estate Show is brought to you in part by your friends at Bull Realty. When your business requires proven performance, visit bullrealty.com or call 800-408-BULL. Welcome back. I'm Michael Bull, and this is the Commercial Real Estate Show. Well, we have some great shows coming up for you. Next week, we'll cover the senior housing and assisted living industry. Be sure to catch shows of special interest to you. Sign up for a once-a-week email announcing the show topic at commercialrealestateshow.com. Well, today we're discussing architecture, design, and construction. My guests are Donald Banger, Urban Design Group, and Bruce McAvoy with Perkins & Will. And Bruce, what types of technology are you using? What's prevalent today with technology and architecture and working with clients?
Well, I think that the technology debate today is really a commitment to BIM. It's been there for a while. building information modeling. We see that expanding, in all directions. So from our side of the fence, usually visualization, sort of developing a better design, clash detection, working with our partners in the construction industry, and kind of moving all the way through the cycle, hopefully to what we're seeing now with some of the more progressive clients going to building management at the tail end. However, it's funny, we finished our new location a couple of years ago and really committed ourselves to a robust model shop, 3D printing and, some CNC machines for communication with clients. And that, coupled with some of my work over the past couple of years working in Asia where there was connectivity issues, I'd be with a client maybe in Beijing. We'd have an office in Shanghai working on the project and an office in Atlanta creating a 24 cycle. And what was funny was the major tool in that case, kind of like going back to traditional model building, was my pen, sketching, taking a picture with my iPhone, and piping that to the right office with a continued conversation, either in the morning or the evening. So it's really funny. It's top to bottom, I think. We've got more technology and more tools than we could imagine. Also the analysis tools, we're using Ecotech, things like that to do building performance, climate modeling, all sorts of stuff. But when it comes down to it, it's still a simple conversation with people, and I think those simple tools are still at the heart of our industry.
Yeah, one of the best ways in order to communicate is to take what is being said and translate it by hand as you're communicating.
Yeah.
And you cannot do that quickly with BIM.
Yeah.
BIM is great for the efficiency that it provides all the way through the process, but it's a process. But the inception, the interchange, that's where the key is. You still have to have the tool of drawing.
Yeah. And design is, there's a lot of prototyping in design. It's one of the core sort of tenets of the design process. And what I find is exciting is we're getting to the point now where that prototyping can happen through permutations. What was, we had time to try a few different ways. We can try a few thousand ways now. So
that's nice.
It's great. Yields a much richer pool of possible answers.
Right. And you talked about listening to clients. So what are they telling you they want out of their environment today?
Well, I think, again, our sophisticated clients are coming to us and they understand the value of that space. So, today your space speaks a whole host of things about you. Your brand is demonstrated through that space. It affects your employees. It affects you. We're seeing a new concern about environmental health, how people are using the space. I think we're kind of done with the idea of just space was somewhere where you go to work now. It's more of a tool for you than anything else.
So they're looking for more performance out of it for retention and for recruiting and for just getting more productive, right? More efficiency.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've had clients tell us that their aha moment might have been when they had a top recruit come into their office, see the space after kind of thinking they were aligned in every way, from the ideals of the company to the city they're in, the actual location and real estate, but then get to the space and be like, I'm not working here. I'm literally not working for you guys because of this.
And what do you see related to office environments? What are some of the trends that you see?
I think right now there's a big push to densifying offices. We've seen everything go to open office, or a healthy amount of it go to open office. And we see that, I think, really as business has evolved. Business now is really a team sport. There's a lot of collaboration, a lot of interdisciplinary interaction, and those environments support that. We also see that we're a mobile, connected workforce now. Not everybody goes to the office and needs heads down space. So that's translated to sort of a shrinking portfolio with some of our clients, as well as a flexibility within that space. Heads down and the personal real estate has shrunk, while the collective spaces, teaming spaces, and interaction areas have increased.
Yeah, that's interesting. We're going to create a game room in our next extension of our office.
Absolutely.
And in there we're going to have a nice conference table. It's beautiful, but it transforms into a pool table.
Yeah, absolutely.
Walking in here today really told me a lot about you.
Yeah.
And I was pretty impressed at how advanced and forward-looking you've been in all of this here.
Yeah, well, thank you. And I think the space is real important to folks today, and we'll get more into that and in some other sectors I'm Michael Bull. This is the Commercial Real Estate Show. We'll be right back. The Commercial Real Estate Show is brought to you in part by France Media. France Media provides exposure to the world of commercial real estate. Visit francemediainc.com or call 404-832-8262. Welcome back. I'm Michael Bull, and this is the Commercial Real Estate Show. You're invited to check out the Commercial Real Estate Show on YouTube. That's right, you'll find a great selection of videos like Reese on Real Estate and the Fed's View of Commercial Real Estate. You're invited to subscribe so you don't miss a show of special interest to you. Just visit YouTube and search for the channel Commercial Real Estate Show. Well, today we're discussing architecture, design, and construction. My guests are Donald Banger and Bruce McAvoy. And guys, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about retail projects. Donald, what do you see? What are the trends in retail today?
We were doing malls at one time. We're not doing malls now. We were doing power centers. Now it became lifestyle centers. Now we're seeing really the focus is more like along the lines we were talking about other project types. It's experiential. Experiential retail is the phrase that they use now. And what that means is that it's really all about being in a place where people can assemble and have things to do and entertain. It's not just about merchandising. In the competition against the online stores, you have to have something that gives you the experience. Some retailers use technology for it, and they'll have all kinds of displays and things, and some motions are going forward to be able to read who you are by, we're going to have little stickers in our head somewhere here that's got a code, and that retailer is going to know what you're tending to buy and what you tend to want, and they'll give it to you on a screen. We're preparing right now, though, in a more logical way of providing some places for people to assemble and people to enjoy themselves, and it becomes more of a day out. And the shopping is part of the entertainment.
Well, it sounds a lot more exciting than some of the malls I've been to. My wife and daughter love to go to the mall, and I hate it. So so I'm looking forward to that. Something that might be a little more exciting for me. And I know another sector that's starting to get more new construction is hospitality. So what should we expect for the future of hotels that we visit, resorts?
What we've been seeing is a lot in common with this is the places that are for conference, for getting together, are getting a lot more attention. The lobbies are getting to be much more fine-tuned to a particular target market, and they're becoming places for assembly rather than a place for just a vision or a welcome. It becomes useful spaces. The spaces themselves are much more combined uses, multi-use in how they're doing. The rooms are still pretty sumptuous, and there are expectations on all levels at all places in the hospitality area for connectivity to the online community out there. Mm-hmm. So technology is taking its. One of the nicest things that's ever happened to a room is a flat screen TV. I tell you what.
Yeah, that's right.
They've gotten bigger and better.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So the time that you do, just calm down and chill out, that's even become more enjoyable.
Well, let's switch our view to multifamily and high-rise apartments and condominiums. Bruce, what do you see there?
I think there's been a slight shift. We're seeing a lot more rental right now in the local market in the Southeast. We're also seeing amenities are kind of king. I think the demographic of young professionals right now, they're making choices about their professional life that really have to do with lifestyle choices as much as, a generation ago maybe with salary and some other things. But believing in the company they work for, choosing a market that they want to live in or a city they want to live in, and then actually choosing a property that supports their lifestyle. So we're seeing some of the unit sizes contract a little, lose a few hundred square feet here and there, and in response to that, deliver more of a lifestyle building, that supports them in the same way that as a young professional, they're traveling all over the globe. They're accustomed to a lifestyle that is supported by those hotels, and they want to see that similar to the hospitality discussion.
What we're also seeing is that those who had made that choice, then got married, then had started having children, they're staying in that lifestyle rather than going off to the suburbs like it used to be.
Yeah.
Well,
And with people waiting to get married longer too, I had a client in San Francisco actually have a term that I hadn't heard before, but it was PGBM, which was post-graduation before marriage, and it's this demographic everybody seems to want. They're the young. They're the
That's
young.
what the design is all geared toward.
Yeah, they want the young professional, the young entrepreneur. Who's the next Google? Who's the next web-based company, startup? They're all after this demographic that really is kind of a slightly different animal when it comes to
The focus
housing.
has been to that group or us baby boomers.
Yep.
And you guys in the middle, I don't know what's going on with y'all because you've been forgotten.
We're just drafting. We're drafting off the younger guys.
Well, it makes sense that they want more from their apartment community because, like you said, they are there longer. It's a lifestyle choice. They don't have to worry about owning a home and all the challenges that might be associated with that, right?
There's an instant gratification in our culture today. I mean, these are the kids who paid 99 cents to get whatever they wanted, listen to whatever they wanted to hear at that moment from the cloud. So I think there's a notion with that it's easy, it's flexible, which is another key thing. We talked earlier about how they want to choose how they're going to work and where they work and who they work for. I think we're seeing more rental, more lease across the board as well when it comes to
more attractive as well, the buildings.
I think so. I think the level of sophistication has to play at a level that's, again, part of a global perspective. So in the markets where maybe it was slightly behind some other markets, you're starting to see those start to equalize, and you're starting to see developers move back and forth as well.
We're seeing a quality of material has been improved since the amount of walls and such are going away.
Yeah.
And that has upgraded in a lot of ways.
All right, we're going to take a short break. More on architecture. I'm Michael Bull. This is the Commercial Real Estate Show. We'll be right back. Welcome back. I'm Michael Bull, and this is the Commercial Real Estate Show. We're excited to announce a new service on the show. It's called Ask Michael Bull. Every business day, I answer a listener's question on video. You can check it out at the Twitter account, Ask Michael Bull, or on our YouTube channel, Commercial Real Estate Show. Well, today we're discussing architecture and design with Donald Banger and Bruce McAvoy. And Bruce, tell us about your transparency website at Perkins & Will. I found that very interesting. Just explain to the listeners what's there.
Well, that really came out of our commitment to sustainability. At Perkins & Will, we had been a big supporter of USGBC. That is translated today towards net zero buildings, both in energy and water. And we started to do some materials research and found out it started off as a precautionary list in 2007. And what that really had to do with was we identified 25 substances that were known or suspected to have really detrimental human health issues associated with them. They were toxicants. And so what we did was we identified those and then started to share it with the industry. And really the idea there was let's start to prod the supply chain a little bit, and let's get some alternatives at the table, choices for designers. In 2009, that got re-released as transparency.perkinsandwill.com. And that's now, both have been shared with the industry and people are starting to adopt it. We're actually starting to push for more declaration of what's in products out there. And it's also grown in its research to now encompass allergen triggers, asthma triggers, and also flame retardants, which are very big topics right now, and it's scary when you see some of the research. For instance, you take a little kid who's in a school, can't perform, he's a behavior problem, everything else. They switch environments, or they put him in a green school that's taken into account some of these things. Student takes off and he performs fantastic. It's really rewarding to see that, or to hear from a teacher who has asthma that she hasn't had an attack in a year and a half after being in the new school. She used to have 7 a year, in her old space. So it's just, I think, a way. It's good design, and that's where everything is headed. I think we can do a better job, and we need help from the industry with alternatives. And if we holistically look at these buildings and look at the health on top of the energy and water, it's something we can do for the planet as well.
And it's healthy design, right? So if I'm designing a building, I'm going to develop a building, or an architect's designing a building and picking out materials, what can they find there? How can they use that? And is the site accessible to everyone? The
site is accessible to everybody. You can go to it and kind of browse through the topics, whatever you're looking for, whether it's the known substances again that we consider toxicants, and there's several lists. There's sort of their chemical names sometimes. Sometimes those get branded by companies, for their specialty. So it's really tough to keep up with this stuff, even as a designer, to stay on top of what's in these materials. But I think if the industry starts to think of it this way, it'll naturally make it down the supply chain to manufacturing and the alternatives that are available for good design.
We'll put the link to the website on the show page, so if you're listening online, you can get to it. Guys, you have a real quick tip for our listeners?
I think my tip is never underestimate the power of good design. It really is transformative, so can't make a better investment.
I agree with that. And in this particular situation where we're at now, expectations for what we have are pretty good for the future couple of years, and I would very much hope that we don't get over exuberant about it come 2016 and find ourselves yet again overbuilding.
All right, well guys, thanks for joining us today. We appreciate you being with us.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
For more information from Donald Banger, visit urbandesigngroup.com, and from Bruce, visit perkinswill.com. Can you join us next week? Well, I hope so. It'll be an interesting show. We'll be talking about housing, senior housing, and assisted living. Until next week, be sure that you always lead, learn, and laugh, and join us for the Commercial Real Estate Show. The Commercial Real Estate Show is brought to you by Atlanta Office Liquidators, new and used furniture liquidators, France Media, publications and conferences, and Bull Realty Commercial Brokerage, a great place to do business. For more information on these companies, or to access additional podcasts, videos, or blogs, visit commercialrealestateshow.com.